The following podcast is scheduled for one fall with no time limit.
Super hot fire!
The greatest spectacle in podcast entertainment, Mr. Wrestlemania.
That was literally verbal diarrhea. I'm setting the bar awfully low. Titus O'Neil keeps running directly into that bar. Get him off my TV, get him off my TV. You make me very angry.
The man who has a better IQ than you, the awe-inspiring JC.
You should go work for WWE because you'd be so far up Vince's butt.
No.
Oh, you are such a sucker.
You
You
are.
defend everything, all the bad moves they make.
This is the Jobber Knocker Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Jobber Knocker Podcast. As always, I'm Wrestlemania. Alongside for the ride is JC. We have gotten through NXT, TakeOver, Phoenix, the Royal Rumble, Raw, SmackDown, and everything else. This is
205 Live.
There's a lot of programming,
It was
folks.
a packed, jammed weekend, and we had you covered here at the Jobber Knocker. We obviously, of course, the podcast is always available, so make sure you give us 5-star 5 flames because we work hard, but also buy the shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees, Jobber Knocker, Super Hot Fire, Monday Night Rerun, and of course, JobberKnocker.com. We have all the coverage you will ever need up there right now. Review of NXT from TJ is Super Hot Fire. Hey, I wrote an article
You did?
about the Women's Tag Team Championships, also Super Hot Fire, and there's more to come on JobberKnocker.com. Our guy Joe's working on a Dean Ambrose piece because that is the hot news, and that's what we do. And be on the lookout, obviously, for NXT and NXT UK analysis pieces coming, and so much more. There's also all those other articles that are great. So JobberKnocker.com, we got you covered. But you know what? We got to move on right to the Royal Rumble. Don't worry, we're going to talk about NXT. We'll talk about Ambrose and Kenta in the finish. But right now, it's time to start with the Royal Rumble.
You called him Kenta. I'm so proud of you.
Well, he changed his name.
That's his real. That's
I
what
know
he,
it
that's
is.
his government
I knew
name.
who Kenta was before he got here. Then CM Punk stole his finisher.
My move. Anyway, all right. So let's talk about the Royal Rumble. Let's get into it. Where do you want to start? You start from.
So we can probably, here we go. Quick Royal Rumble. Rude and Gable was in a match that I still have no idea what's going on next. I'm sure you have nothing to say about
Nope.
that. Nakamura wins back the title because he knocked over Lana because we want to rerun that spot, but whatever. I did like that it tied into later in the night, so we'll get on more of that later. I thought that was one good theme of the Royal Rumble is everything seemed to tie together storyline-wise, so they actually thought it through, which is always nice to see. Kicks off the show with Becky Lynch tapping out to Asuka. Thoughts?
Awful. I thought it was the drizzling poops.
Match was bad.
The match was
Worst
bad.
match of the night.
The match was bad. I don't care what anybody else says about it. The match was bad. And again, true bias aside, I will say up front, everybody that was not part of the Jobber Knocker clan, you and I, were watching together, as well as with our boy Ben and our boy, the big bad Derek Simonetti. So clearly,
We had to get our two biggest friends because we're two little guys.
exactly. You gotta even out the playing field. But no, I mean, like, I'm sure our bias will be a little bit more. I actually, maybe it won't be. I don't know. We'll see.
So
you and I were different.
didn't hate the tap out as much as everyone else did. I get why you hated
Sure.
it, but I just looked at it as a way of like Asuka needed it. And we've seen the choke out a million freaking times. I'm sick. Whenever I see a choke out now, I'm just like, oh, I hate this shit. So I didn't mind it because I wish they would have sold it more as like Becky, like somehow coming out later being like, you know what, I was going to take my opportunity. But again, it would have ruined the surprise. But I didn't hate it as much as people, but I get why you hate it. And I think you have every right to hate it. I just thought it really needed to give Asuka some momentum she needed.
Here's something that no one else thinks about. There's another way to win this matchup. Pinfall.
Yeah.
Anybody loses by a pin, you go, it happens.
Yeah. No,
You know?
I agree.
I hate when you put yourself into, okay, Ronda Rousey has to win by an arm bar. Becky Lynch has to win by a disarm her. You got to choke out somebody when you're Asuka. No, you don't. There's 50 billion ways to win a matchup. There's 50 different outcomes you could have. All you need to do is go, you know what? They're both equal. This time, Asuka needs to squeak out a pinfall. That's all you do. Anybody will believe that, and you're gone. The fact that she tapped out was, to me, the worst idea possible because and I know people are like, oh, she's super hot and fire, like whatever you want to say. It's just, she's on.
Super hot fire.
Sorry, super hot fire. She's red hot, and that she's like on another level, but it bothers me because it's just, you got to remember that we're telling stories here, and anything you're doing here is basically slowing down the rocket ship at this point.
But I think it's just, and we saw it like it didn't matter. Like, they put an asteroid in front of the rocket ship, and she fucking obliterated it. 'Cause
Sure.
She doesn't give a shit, and the crowd doesn't give a shit because they want her. And WWE knew that, so, like, we got to give Asuka the rub. They gave it to her. Whether you agree with it or not, it happened. But moving on,
Yeah.
Mick Miz wins the titles and celebrates with Daddy.
Mr. Miz, as we found out
He's on SmackDown.
Tuesday.
More on that later. But Mick Miz,
that match, I'm glad clearly we knew that they were going to win. I'm glad they did.
it wasn't a bad match.
It wasn't a bad match,
fine.
but again, a lot of what I watched this Sunday, and not so much Saturday, but this Sunday was forgettable. And this match to me was forgettable. You remember a lot of what I'm
I don't
looking
know if
at.
I agree with that.
Here's the thing: a lot of what I've watched on Sunday, I enjoyed the outcome, but I will not remember the entire journey of the match.
So there were three things that I'm going to remember, and one is the next thing, which I thought was the match of the night. And upon reflection, I liked it even more, and I actually rewatched it and was like, it was really good. Rousey, Sasha, Rouza Banks.
Rouza Banks.
Rouza Banks was the match of the night. I enjoyed it at the time. I enjoyed it even more on rewatch, looking back and reflecting. That was, I think, Ronda Rousey's best singles match on the main roster. Because, I mean, besides that, her tag match was obviously amazing at Mania. Her other singles matches were mainly Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax, which were all good, but I thought this one was her best.
Okay. The ending was a little weird for me. The stuff afterwards, the schmaz afterwards. I'm always a guy for I always look for. And I have a different mentality than most people. I enjoy the match when I'm in the match, when I'm watching it, but then I'm looking at all of what we're being told is after the bell. That's essentially what you're looking at. You're looking at the whole match as a checkpoint, and then you get to character development, afterwards. And so I'm watching that whole will she? No, she comes back. Will she? No, she comes back. 4 horsewomen, and I get that.
They're teasing it hard.
I get that. But it was just the amount of time that it was back and forth. I was just I understood that was probably what they all agreed upon, but it didn't necessarily feel like it was the best thing possible.
I think it's because these two aren't done.
Sure. They can't be.
We're either getting this at Chamber or Fastlane again. Most likely Fastlane, because I think Sasha might have a date at Chamber, but we'll see.
And obviously check out the article, as you may have her on their power rankings. I'm just throwing that out there.
I would assume that Sasha and Bayley would be near the top of those power rankings, if not the top. Sure. But you'll have to read to find out.
Absolutely, at jobberknocker.com. Anyway, back to the Sasha match. I enjoyed it as well. I thought it was, like you said, the best match of the night. However, like I said, a lot of this was kind of wishy-washy in terms of the entire night for me. So I felt like it was.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Because I felt that, when I was leaving, I was fatigued. I think a big part of that was just because it was too fucking long.
Sure.
I thought overall it wasn't bad.
No.
But I thought it was actually very, in terms of other pay-per-views, I thought it was much more exciting. Mainly because it's the Rumbles and it's an exciting time. But I thought the length was the thing that killed it.
And that's fine. And I'm sure we'll discuss it more in the heat. It's just, for me, when I watched it, it's like saying, for me, when I watched a lot of the stuff as we go through it, it's just,
Women's Royal Rumble was way too long. We can agree on that.
Yeah, that was way too long.
But I thought by the end, business picked up. And obviously, you talk about forgettable. Becky Lynch had one of the most memorable moments, I think, that we're never going to forget.
No. And
that was an iconic, unforgettable moment. How we got there took a little bit. But, of course, we have hashtag always in the shine. The moment of the night before that, Mandy and Naomi. Mandy eliminated Naomi in the most memorable moment. You know what? I don't understand why you don't like her. I realize that. How can you hate donuts? They're so glazed and pure.
Has nothing to do
and
with
Mandy
anything.
Rose and
I don't
Sonya
watch
Deville
it.
are the donuts of WWE.
The donuts?
The Mandy donuts.
They're glazed?
The Mandy's donuts.
I don't get it.
You have never watched their YouTube show. You're
No,
missing
I
out.
haven't.
It puts up, down, down. Shame. It's the best YouTube show out there.
You're such a liar.
A new episode just came out today. I actually tagged you in it.
Blasphemy.
They just eat glazed donuts and say how great they are.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
It is.
It's great.
They're great. They'd also be a great candidate to be the first ever women's tag team champions.
Wow, you're really pushing that article very hard, aren't you? He worked very hard in his power rankings this week, folks.
They weren't power rankings.
Whatever they were.
Yeah, you didn't even read it?
I did read it. They are power
Wow.
rankings.
But Becky wins. Hell yeah, it was great. I enjoyed it. She got her big moment. Made us kind of forget what happened earlier in the night. And now she is going to WrestleMania.
As she points at the not sign, but at the big scoreboard.
At least unlike Seth, she pointed to the right thing because he's going to University of Phoenix. She's going to WrestleMania.
Well, whatever. That to me was a whole clunker we'll talk about, I'm sure, at some point. But it was just, I hate the whole thing. Anyway, all right, next.
The nap break that I just don't give a shit about. I mean, granted, AJ Bryan was put in a bad spot, but that match wasn't good either. I don't care.
Here's what I enjoyed. Not the match as much as I enjoyed. I don't know if anybody saw this on the WWE.com exclusive or on Facebook exclusive, whatever it was. they had Daniel Bryan cut an amazing promo that if you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. It is awesome. It is literally right after that match with Dasha, I think. And he starts talking, and she goes, so the crowd didn't seem like really into it. And he goes, I don't care. I don't care. He goes, you know what I live for? You know what I live for? The silence. And you know what AJ Styles lives for? The admiration. The fact that people scream his name and cheer and get into his matches. He goes, you know what I loved? You know what I thrived with? Was the silence. Knowing that everybody had a technical masterpiece in front of them and they didn't like it. I love that I could silence that crowd. He took something that was clearly given to him in a bad spot, and he just made me completely forget of how forgettable that was.
Oh, I ain't forgetting.
I will, because I'm looking at that going, this guy is bulletproof at this point. Like, he is on track right now. Like, the minute we put the gas pedal, a little bit further and we take the brake off of Becky, I'm telling you right now, when Becky eventually, maybe a year or two from now, slows down, maybe even sooner, I don't know, Daniel Bryan, if he keeps up this pace, will then be back where he's supposed to be as the guy, because the stuff he's doing right now is unbelievable.
Here's the problem of why I think this sucks. Because moving forward, they had the chance to end the Daniel Bryan AJ Styles feud. But by trotting out former Wyatt, Bludgeon, whatever the fuck Recycle Boy they did, we're getting Bryan AJ again. Probably at Fastlane, probably at WrestleMania. For the love of God, put me to sleep again. I don't fucking care. Where's CM Punk? Where's Kenta? Put me to sleep. I don't want to see it. Okay. And that's my biggest problem with it.
Well,
and that's why the match is a milk dud.
You got the Elimination Chamber.
Yes, but we're going to talk about that after. But that's just another way to keep it going.
Oh, well.
So then we move on.
Yes, we move on.
Brock beats Balor.
When he was, what did the tail of the tape say, Josh? How much did Balor weigh?
We know that was
incorrect. How much did he weigh, Josh?
That is incorrect.
How much did he weigh?
So
I think it was 190
I'm going to peel
pounds.
back the curtain here
I'm going to say 190 pounds.
So, at the Rumble.
Yes, he was 190 pounds.
There was one moment where Wrestlemania stood up and cheered like a little girl.
Yes.
And it was for Brock Lesnar.
Yes, it was.
That is disgusting.
No, it's not.
It wasn't when Becky won. It wasn't the other great moments. It was when Brock Lesnar retained.
Yes.
Because Nestle loves the part-timer who was a waste of time and not having the title on TV.
I love
He
it.
is a fraud.
I am not a fraud.
He hates Finn Balor. So whenever he comes on this
Balor.
program and tries to tell you that I actually like Balor, they just don't use him. No, he's a fraud. He hates Finn Balor.
That is not true. 100%.
It is. You cheered for Brock Lesnar beating him.
I did cheer because that was the result that needed to happen. And guess what? But
you don't cheer it.
You absolutely do cheer it.
Fraud.
You cheer it because guess what? He's the guy that sells the pay-per-view. He's the guy.
You mean Finn Balor, the people they actually like?
Listen,
Stop
Brock Lesnar.
You don't even believe that. Stop it.
Listen,
That's
I'm telling
dumb.
you right now. I'm telling you right now. Let me talk.
You ruined it.
Let me talk. I cheered because that man does not need to fight Finn Balor. That man deserves to fight somebody. Are you going to tell me that you're sitting there going, you knew that Finn Balor was not winning that match?
Yeah, but I wanted to see it. I wanted to see it, and I enjoyed it.
And personally, I didn't even believe that was a decent match, really. I mean,
it was okay.
It was a good storytelling match. Then that's fine. We got to the point of David versus Goliath, which was great. But I wanted more.
Well,
I
feel like that was the match that got shortchanged because the Women's Rumble went long.
I wanted it to be a beatdown. I wanted it to be just an absolute beatdown.
But you want the same match we've already seen 1,000 times: Brock versus everyone where he beats them down. No, the ones that I've liked are like the ones where AJ and Bryan where they're different.
That's fine,
and that's what I wanted for this one too. And it kind of started that way, but then it was just
you can't have the same match as Daniel Bryan the month later with
we
Finn
had
Balor.
the same matches for Brock Lesnar for the past 3 years. He has the same match all the time. Beat down, come back, win.
This one, if anything, deserved to have 90% offense, Brock Lesnar, 10% Finn Balor.
So here's what I want. I never want you to complain about Brock Lesnar again.
I will never complain about Brock Lesnar again.
But we need to move on because we got a lot to get to. There's probably going to be a lot more of that because Wrestlemania is a fraud. So we start the Men's Royal Rumble with the worst start to Royal Rumble history, in my opinion.
Oh, don't even get me started.
Some people liked it because they like Jeff Jarrett. I think Jeff Jarrett, as you like to say, never drew a dime. He sucks. Elias being one, fine. But Jeff Jarrett, what a waste of my goddamn time.
In the words of Eric Bischoff, Jeff Jarrett destroyed thousands of guitars, never drew a dime. And every time I see him, I think of that. I have never in my life wanted to see Jeff Jarrett. The reason people pop or mark out for it is because they're like, oh, nostalgia, which again, I love that. Like, to me, that's the part of the Royal Rumble I tune into is nostalgia.
Yeah.
But that is not the nostalgia I'm looking for. I want somebody that I enjoy. Doink the Clown, IRS, whatever we were hoping for, but not Jeff Jarrett. You know why Jeff Jarrett's not on your brain? Because Jeff Jarrett has not been in the WWE for 20 years, and I get the whole backstory of like, this is a big deal or whatever, but I looked at him and I was like, granted, I know he's older and probably not in the best shape, but I just went like, ugh. Like, here's a guy that doesn't need this. Here's a guy that, and like, everybody's like, oh, you're being, here's the typical internet wrestling mark saying this stuff. No, I'm not, because look, you look at him and went, what happened the next night? Fucking.
Oh, don't get me started.
That was, to me,
I don't
that right there was like, whatever. So I don't want to spend too much time on it, but Jeff Jarrett, whether you like him or not, I don't care, but that was worth no admission. That right there didn't draw. It was like a nice little bit. I'm glad he got thrown out. Somebody on Twitter, by the way, who I forget which stat guy threw this out, but it was amazing. This is the only wrestling stat that'll ever happen in a lifetime, I'm sure. First person eliminated from the Royal Rumble, Jeff Jarrett. Second person eliminated from the Royal Rumble, Kurt Angle. They both had the same wife. Never again in the Royal Rumble will numbers 1 and 2 thrown out have the same wife at some point. Never.
Yep.
So whoever wrote that, fantastic. Now
Other
let's move
themes
on.
of the men's rumble, I thought this one had much better pacing. I think it was because they knew it was getting late. It moved a lot better. Even though I thought a lot of the things the woman did and a lot of the entries in the women's were better, I thought the pacing of the men's was great. And ain't no stopping me. No, they stopped his music, but Shelton Benjamin.
You want to talk about you?
Finally in a rumble.
You lost it.
Hashtag JC Hopes from True. I did.
Oh, you lost
This was
it.
my mark out
This was
moment.
your
You
mark
marked
out
out for Brock
moment.
Lesnar.
Yeah.
I marked out for Shelton Benjamin. God, that I was
That
so.
took you
I
long
remember
enough.
we were sitting there, and all of a sudden we were trying to go like, who's left, and I was just like Shelton Benjamin, and then it hit, and I just jumped up. I felt like a little girl. I was so happy.
Yeah, I mean, for someone that's been calling this for years, I mean, even before the podcast, we would hang out and we'd be like,
yeah.
I mean, we've been friends for a while now. I think almost like, God, I want to say we're almost like
2011.
Yeah, it's been
So
a
we
while.
both started.
But I'm just like, God, like, so that's what? That's 7 years already, and you've been
8 years.
Okay, whatever. I can't do math.
We know that.
But you sit there and you think about it. You've been clamoring this for 8 years. 8 years.
I wanted him back the moment he left.
Oh my God.
Shelton Benjamin's legitimately one of my favorites of all time. I love that man. So I was very happy. And yeah, he was in it. Other
He was in
themes
it.
is Mustafa, I thought, had a very good showing. Ember Moon also had a very good showing in the women's. I thought they were two of the ones, the up-and-coming stars that had good showings. But the next thing we got to talk about is number 30. We knew someone was knocking out R-Truth. We just didn't expect it to be Nia Jax, the first person to ever double dip in the 2-year history of the
Double dip.
Rumble. She eliminated Mustafa, actually. But then, look at this. So this was the thing that night. I was just like, meh. But when I got home and the next morning, and I watched those clips again of that sequence with the super kick, the 619, and the RKO, I was like, that's fucking cool. Like, that was cool. Like, I've rewatched that a bunch of times. Like, that was cool. So I completely flipped on this. Like, look, I'm not a big fan of Nia Jax. Most of us aren't, but she's a really good heel. So putting her in here, like, it works. And Ben and I were talking about this is, WWE, they're going very soft into this intergender, like, stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously, Nia Jax is someone you look at and it's like, she matches up differently just because of her size. So my favorite part, it's one of my favorite Randy Orton moments in recent history, was his face when he went to RKO and she pushed him out. He was just like, oh, shit. And I was like, that was awesome because that put her over hard. It was great. Looking back on that, it was actually, I enjoyed it. It's not something I would have done. It's not something I would ever clamor for, but just rewatching those clips, it was an incredible sequence.
I've always been a big, huge component of intergender matches. I think it's great. And everybody that's been, I've been posting it on Twitter and people have been giving me shit about
You've used it in your Hope This podcast like 10 times.
I know, but the thing is that this is finally the opening of the door. So hashtag Nestle's hopes make them true. But I had to put May in there because we all know that they can change their mind at a drop of a hat. So look, I am so excited for the idea. When Nia Jax came out, I was like, this is cool. And they made a big deal about China and Beth Phoenix and her, and it is a big deal. And there's no way around it. This is a very big deal. But I will say this much. In terms of the Nias versus the China Beth Phoenix factor, she was the first one to take offense in the Royal Rumble.
Oh, yeah.
First one.
Yep.
Instead of being just dumped out nicely, This is the first time she ate an RKO.
She took a lot of
kick.
offense.
She
took
took
3 finishers in a row.
Yeah, and I was very, very happy for it. But here's the thing that people get misconstrued when you're like, oh, intergender matches will work. Oh, like they always make fun of me when I say it. No. Do I want Alexa Bliss versus Braun Strowman? No, of course not. But what I'm trying to say is, like, when you look at it, anything in wrestling in general, whether you're a fan, whether you, like me, who have trained to be a wrestler, or you're somebody that runs a promotion, or whatever the case is, when you think about wrestling, the first thing that you look at, for me anyway, is believability. I would believe Nia Jax versus all of those people.
And that's why she was the perfect candidate
Right,
for
exactly.
It. Yep.
So when you look at somebody like a Ronda Rousey, I could think that Ronda Rousey would be believable against at least 65% or maybe even higher of the roster.
100%.
So you have to look at it when you're doing intergender matches, that you match somebody up and you cast somebody in a role that is at least believable, whether they're fighting from top or bottom in that position. And that's the reason that is why you need to focus on intergender wrestling, because it could work when you're cast properly. And that's what I think people miss on this entire topic, is this needs to be certain people versus certain people. And that's my hope for everything. That's an additional Nestle hope. Think about it when you do intergender matches. There you go.
And we also have to mention Seth Rollins actually won this thing by hitting his curb stomp on Braun Strowman on the apron for the win. So for the second year in a row, the 2 fan favorites win the Rumbles. Last year it was Nakamura and Asuka. This year it was Becky and Seth. So people are getting what they want out of this match the last 2 years. I obviously, as it is now well documented, I'm not the biggest Seth fan, but I get it. And more on him in a little bit. But yeah. Thoughts on Seth winning? And other themes from the Royal Rumble?
Okay, so we'll go to the women's very quickly.
Yes.
I thought that Ricochet Jr., that was a nice little touch.
Yep.
She was good. She a little too much.
Casey Catanzaro.
Sure.
We'll use her name.
Sure, whatever. I'm not going to remember that.
Identifying a woman by her man is...
Whatever. Anyway, let's move on. Lacey Evans, with the exception of the fuck-up spot in the beginning, she did a relatively good job, so I thought she was worth talking about. I think clearly once the nerves subsided, she did a great job, so I thought that was nice. And over at the men's, why is Dolph Ziggler back? Or why is he in? I get it might be a one-off, but I was just like, they're just giving fuel to the fire.
We'll get more of this in the finish when we talk about Ambrose, but they're going to start working us with some of this shit because they know this is what the people want.
Yeah. And it's just very cool to see Candice LeRae and Johnny Gargano, the first power couple to be in the Royal Rumble together, which I thought was great at the same time. So that was nice.
And I thought overall in the women's, what I loved about it is last year was so much of looking back and bringing back all those legends, whereas this year, all those open spots went to NXT and NXT UK, like Rhea Ripley, who we were talking about and was we were one of our hopes. And to get in there is because these are all women that are going to be part of this company's future, and it's good to showcase them. And I really like that about it, and that's why I thought overall that Rumble was better, except for the pacing.
To me, listen, whether it's the men's or the women's, I always want legends. I
agree.
I want like at least 2 or 3 that you did something to yourself.
Spilled coffee in my white pants.
Why are you wearing white pants?
They look like shit stains now.
Well,
Well,
I don't know how you do
that
that.
was fun while it lasted. These ain't ever going to be out of
Speaking
the
of
house
shit
again.
stains, let's move on to Raw.
By the way, I don't even know how it came up, but shit stain Nakamura. We came up with it. We were watching like.
I think it was Todd and you talking.
Yeah, he said shit stain. I'm like, that's great, and they're like Nakamura. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get to the shine because that's what this program's all about. I mean, we're gonna be all over the place. Let's just get that out of the way now. So where would you like to start?
Hey, listen, it's the hottest topic because it happened last night. I'm going to say it right now. That belt is amazing. I love that belt.
He's a paper champion.
Oh, my God. I sat there for a moment when I literally saw Rowan come out with the recycled Titantron.
The recycled Titantron.
I was just like, this is great. This is outstanding. Then I saw her sack. I'm like, oh, my God, is this really happening? And then when he displayed it, I was just like, oh my God, this was way better than I expected. I thought this thing was going to be held up by like recyclable duct tape and whatever, but it is a really, here's the thing. I don't like buying replica belts anymore because clearly I'm at an age where like I like buying other things, but I think TJ said it too, our boy TJ. I actually would buy that because one, if it's going to a good cause like Mother Earth, I'm fine with it. But secondly, I'm sure it's cheaper. They're going to charge $300 either way, but I want a replica of that belt.
Well, it also gave AJ Styles maybe his one of his best lines ever. Where, what'd you do, smoke the prototype? And Daniel Bryan clearly wasn't expecting it because he didn't know what to say. He was just like, no! Yeah. It just made it even more effective. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, AJ just pulled a fast one. First time ever in his promo career.
Phenomenal.
But you know what? that wasn't the best part. The best part for me was Samoa Joe spitting super hot fire as we set up the Elimination Chamber, which came out of nowhere. But hey, Jeff, act like this is an AA meeting and shut your mouth while I'm sharing with the group. Oh, I fainted. I was like, that is a top 5 favorite line ever for me. And he just had zingers for all of them.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was one of the better quick promos I have seen in a long time. Samoa Joe continues to be incredible on the mic. And know why I'm excited for him in the chamber? Because it's not a regular match. It is violence. Samoa Joe thrives in shit talk and violence. So you know what? I'm all in for it. More on him later.
You know what's funny? I watched the phenomenal AJ Styles come out, and when I watch him, I'm like, man, he is not phenomenal. That's why I kept saying phenomenal, because it's just like he's not the guy anymore that he was. It's just like there's something very generic. There's something very plain white.
His character
toast.
sucks. Yeah,
It's just like, yeah, and that's the thing I think we talked about in the Royal Rumble, which I think we should really think about going forward on this podcast. When we said, I think you said it, which was, what is Tamina's character? I don't know what it is. Like, there's no defined roles. Like, there's when you look at a lot of people, you don't really have a lot of, like, you get a backstory because they've been there for a while, but you don't get any type of understanding of what their motivation is now. Like, okay, no more rematches, yet AJ Styles, as you said, has another rematch. I would love to see Mustafa Ali, as you say, at maybe Fastlane or whatever
I
against
think that's
Daniel
too close.
Bryan.
Royal Rumble, I think, was the spot because you can have a title match like that because it's the Rumble.
Right.
Like, it just, Dolph Ziggler had it. That's where all his title matches pretty much were. He lost, like, to everyone, but he had title matches at the Royal Rumble to kick off the show. So, yeah, I think we just got to do it now. She was on Raw and SmackDown. Becky, always super hot fire. We're going to skip over the part that happened before she came out for later, but from the moment where Becky came out and cut that promo on Ronda, told Ronnie, that she's coming for that title, Rousey cut one of her better promos because she was out there with Becky. Becky brings the best out of her that made Ronda a badass. More of that from Ronda, but these two together, yeah, take my money. I'm all in for WrestleMania. Right now it's a singles match. Might be a triple threat. Who knows? Either way, I'm excited, but I mean, I agree like most people. This match doesn't need it. One-on-one. This is the main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah, it could be.
Without a doubt. Sorry, Seth Rollins. I know it was your dream, but you're not going on last. Ronnie and Becky will be going on last. Maybe Daddy's little girl will be there with her, but it doesn't matter to me. Becky and Ronda is the match for WrestleMania. They are the two hottest things, no matter how you put it. I want to see it. I'm ready for it, and I cannot wait for more segments and interactions between these two.
I cannot wait for the internet to explode because Becky won't be able to be there for WrestleMania, as I use air quotes you can't see, and they're going to have to put in Charlotte. And then it's like they're going to advertise Charlotte versus whatever. Then they're going to against Ronda. And then they're going to say, oh, no, wait, no, Becky can come and compete. So now it'll be a triple threat. It'll be one of those things.
We'll see how they do it.
And it's going to be because she was already talking about being injured and having a bad knee and whatever. And that's clearly where they're going.
Charlotte injured her more on SmackDown after their nice little exchange.
So it's just like that's the legal and the most logical and understanding that you can make of it is just like, okay, we're going to shoehorn Charlotte anywhere. Shoehorn Charlotte. There you go. As our boy.
Again, I'll still be fine with it. But I agree that the singles match is like if I rank my top two dream matches for this year's WrestleMania, it's Becky Ronda. Number 2 is Becky Ronda Charlotte. So for me, like whatever, I'll deal with it. But I agree the one-on-one's the better way to go. But I mean, that triple threat gives them an out with Ronda. So I get that. What else you got?
I got plenty.
I thought overall it was a fine week.
I thought that there were highlights of SmackDown, but I thought that, to me, like I said, SmackDown wasn't as great as it could have been. But that's just me. Over on Raw, where is it? I gotta look at my notes. I'm sorry. Shit.
I shouldn't have taken my hands off the steering wheel, should I? You want me to just go?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm a Seth Rollins hater. But I actually didn't mind the way he kicked off the show.
Yeah, the promo with him.
The crowd wants it. It was him. You deserves a chance. He does. I know you. I mean Twitter, but he does deserve it. This guy has been an integral part of this company and a big piece of it for a long time. I mean, he doesn't excite me, but I mean, I know you were gonna get the Triple H thing. They closed the book on him and Ambrose, which although whatever, it closed the book, and Rollins finally beat him clean, and I think that was a necessary thing that had to happen. And I think we're gonna see leading up to Mania, Rollins is gonna clean up his messes that he's left along the way with a lot of these guys. So we'll see how that goes. But I thought overall that was shine for me.
To me, something that it woke me up when I was watching was Triple H coming out there and God damn it, you're gonna make me cry. Like again, good acting, whether or not they believed it or not, doesn't matter. It was good. He goes, I'm sorry guys, I told myself I wasn't gonna do it, but I'm gonna point at the sign. Like that was funny because it's an inside joke.
Because he pointed at the University of Phoenix the night before.
It's just, I love that kind of stuff. I thought that was the stuff that you need in order for it to work was perfectly fine. Then Dean Ambrose comes out, which again, I was like, ugh. But then he comes out and he drops a great line where he goes, he gets
His
halfway
promo
up.
was good before the match.
It was a good promo, and that's the thing that like people forget
His
is
best promo in a long time.
he just he looks at Triple H and says, "Or do you have to ask your father-in-law's permission?" And then does a face, and then comes back in through the ropes, and then the crowd chants, "Yes, he does. Yes, he does." And the Phoenix crowd was on fire.
Yeah, the Phoenix was
All
great
four,
all week.
all four.
They deserve more
Yeah.
events because they're super hot fire all through the week. They never got fatigued.
And I have to put this in here because I thought it was worth something. I talked to somebody, my wife obviously, who's not a wrestling fan, who sits side by side with me while I watch Monday Night Raw.
That poor soul.
I know. And she does a lot of stuff she shouldn't have to, but she appreciates it. That she loves me, so what can I say? So she sits there and she looks up after she's watching whatever the hell she's watching on her laptop, and she always sees Seth Rollins do the stomp for burn it down, and she goes, why does he always throw a tantrum before he does something? And I'm like, I guess he kind of does. Like, you look at it and like, I know he's trying to be HBK-ish, but to an outsider, it does look kind of bizarre.
A lot of things in wrestling look bizarre to outsiders.
Yeah, it's very odd, but like, yeah, it's just something where, like, you look at somebody like that and you go, okay, I guess burning it down, but a nice little tidbit. But look, another rerun that usually, it wasn't a bad match.
And again, the reason why it was positive for me is it closed the book.
Right.
And we're done it now. The only other really piece of shine I have on Raw is I liked that Corbin beat Angle with the deep six because we talk about signature moves not always getting the love. I mean, Kurt Angle, look it. We love Kurt Angle. He's one of the best of all time. But Kurt Angle's old now. He should be treated like that. He shouldn't be like... It shouldn't be taking like some of these guys who are supposed to be your top performers to the limit. So I love that the signature move here gets a little rub because the end of days, like it's becoming a rarer thing, which I think is good. So I thought overall this was effective. And it closed the book on this, I would think.
I hope so. But you also look at it like this too is they put a Hall of Famer, a man that's been like a 6-time WWE champion, and they just made him look like an enhancement talent.
He did the same thing to Drew McIntyre.
It was crazy.
But when you bring back an old timer, this is more of what they should be doing.
I know, but it was just like, to me...
I like that, so I like it.
So I guess I'm on the different side of the fence because I look at it like this, is that he still got more to give. So
yeah.
So when
but
I look
not
at
in the main event, and he lost to 2 main event type players.
That's
the way I look at it.
Baron Corbin is upper mid card right now.
Yes. But he's main event caliber, and he's been in the main event before. He's been in
sure,
a ton
rightfully
of
so.
matches.
But I just
if you
look
go
at
back and look at it. It's crazy.
I would have loved a more competitive matchup. When you think of Kurt Angle, you think this guy's a badass. No matter how, like Jerry Briscoe, no matter how old he gets, could literally kill anybody because the man. It's a term in the wrestling business. He's a hooker, not like a hooker on the street, but like a hooker. Like he's an amateur wrestler that could kill you with his hands. Kurt Angle's the same way. You give him, if he shakes your hand, he could break your hand if he wanted to.
Like me,
so,
not Corbin's.
Again, believability factor is fine. I don't care that Corbin won, but I love that he came back in and did the end of days at the end because it was like, okay, now. But it was odd to me that the Deep Six happened, but it's like I could be talked into understanding either way.
Yeah, I just like it because we do talk about all the time about the signature moves not getting love. That's why we personally love jobber matches because it allows the superstar that you're trying to get the push on to like show off their moveset, which is a big thing I think lacking. Like we talk about character development. Part of it is also in the ring is we don't get to see a lot of these people showcase their moves because everything's so 50-50. But let's go to SmackDown. # always in the shine. Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville backstage segment. Know why I love this? Because they called back the old Tough Enough clips, which I thought was great. It's like, oh my God, they're giving us reason for this storyline. Like, you can say what you want about it, but they gave us a reason. Naomi is a bully. She is not a star. Do not believe anything you said. She was a bully and bullied Mandy Rose when she was just a young little flower trying to blossom into the great superstar she is today. Sonya's always had her back because she was there for it, and she knows how trying of a time this was for her best friend. And you know what? They're so good. They got an automatic entry in the Elimination Chamber. They don't even have to qualify. It's great. Always in the shine. Mandy's a victim. She's a victim of you. She's a victim of Naomi. Team bad. They were bad and mean. Ugh, I wouldn't want Tamina jumping on me that many times. It would hurt.
You done?
Yeah, it was great.
You done?
Yes.
Okay. This is.
You got nothing to say.
No. Here we go.
The Mandy's Donuts, baby.
Hold on. Here's the first thing that I enjoyed the Tough Enough promo. I thought that was great. But having Trials of the Beautiful People, having there sit there and go, oh, my life is so hard. My boyfriend broke up with me because of this. And I watched it and I was like, okay, I appreciate the bullshit. Like, I really do. Like, I was thinking to myself, this is fine. But the minute they're like, they get too much of it, it's just like, dude, no, but like, it works better because she's a heel, which I totally get.
I think that's kind of why they're going over the top with it. Like, my life's so hard that my boyfriend broke up to me and I was whatever. I think that's part of it because you're supposed to hate
Sure,
her.
and here's the most egregious thing about the entire thing is that they gotta walk into the Elimination Chamber. To me, I thought was like, that was the only thing that I looked at that was bad. Because everything else I believed, and everything else I was like, okay, you know what? They made something out of nothing, and I can't complain about that. But the one thing I will say is, why have 3 qualifying matches on Raw? Let me say, I have 3 qualifying matches on Raw where all these people bust their ass and put on matches, and they
bust their ass by beating Dana Brooke.
I'm just saying, they put on a match, they go out there, and I get like they're like, oh, these two get in, and like you're supposed to boo them because they got preferential treatment, which I understand that, but at the same time, we both know that next week there's going to be more qualifying matches
on Raw. I don't think.
I think on SmackDown there has to be one. So who on SmackDown?
We have 2 teams on SmackDown. We have Mandy and Sonya and the Iconics. I'm assuming the Iconics are just going to get put in, and then they're just going to have 2 schmaz tag teams. Like it's going to be like Carmella and Naomi versus who else is even on the SmackDown roster? Lana and Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross, I think, is in one next week. That's the thing with Raw. It's like a team that you know is going to be in versus a hodgepodge team, besides the Alexa Mickey, but you knew they weren't beating Nia and Tamina. But it was like Natalya and Dana Brooke. And then next week it's Nikki Cross and, was it Alicia Fox or somebody? It's whoever else is on the roster.
I would just like clarity in terms of like, if you're going to do it this way, do it that way.
Well, it's also Raw has the extra hour. I don't think SmackDown just wants to waste their match when they can just put them in. There were 2 women's tag teams on SmackDown. Just put them both in the chamber and then figure out your third spot. Maybe they call up Io Shirai and Kairi Sane, like they get an opportunity to be like, look, we don't have enough women. You're going to battle somebody, and maybe they'll sneak in or something. But to me, that was the difference. Is like Raw actually has enough women to do this. SmackDown didn't.
I just want consistency. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
I would love consistency.
We'll see if it's consistent on the same show. If the Iconics have to earn it, then I think there's more credence.
We're going to have to yell flag on the play because that's exactly what it is.
I think they're going to stick them in too. And then
maybe they will. Yeah. And you know what? If that's the case, I'll shut up and I'll continue to watch. But otherwise, if it happens, I'm coming back on this program next week and I'm going to bitch about
laugh in your face because The Mandy's Donuts is the best show on YouTube.
The Mandy's Donuts.
Also, we got to talk about the Fatal 4-Way Elimination Tag Title match.
The only real match on SmackDown, by the way.
No, there were 2 title matches before that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, I thought this match was fun. It showed off you and Ben's boys' heavy machinery. Your boy Otis had a good showing, but the best team won. And they might actually beat McMiz. Unless
Who knows?
Mandy gets involved or something.
Who the hell knows?
Yeah, that was a fun match. I like elimination matches. They're fun.
They are, but it was, again, the only conceivable competitive match on SmackDown.
Nope.
To me, this entire thing, I would go through the rest of SmackDown. There were besides the Rusev, R-Truth, and Nakamura thing, that was it.
Else? Yeah.
That was it. Those are the only 2 matches
I think
on the show.
This was a big story week. And they also, the problem is, the reason why it had to be a big story week is because fucking Elimination Chamber's in like 2 weeks. So I think but I thought overall it was entertaining because, honestly, the best line on SmackDown was after Rusev lost and turned heel, which, didn't really make sense, but whatever. He told the club to go back to catering. And I was like, Wrestlemania can think whatever he wants, but he loves when catering gets referenced. He had to have loved this line because it was hilarious. Because Russo just looks at him and goes, go back to catering where you belong. I was like, this is fucking hilarious. Oh, and that's why I love Rusev, because they're going to make him be a heel now and have this weird team with Nakamura.
Yeah.
But he's still going to be on TV, and he's going to be hilarious because Rusev is just good. And you know what? If you would have told me before I saw it that, Rusev is going to come out and be mad at R-Truth for winning the title against his nemesis Nakamura, who helped him hurt his wife twice, but then to agree to team with him, I would have been like, pfft. But then I watched it, and I was like, oh, my God, I can't believe I might actually buy into this because this might actually be funny. They sold me somehow. I mean, we'll see how they go with it. And I think it's a way where it's funny. I tweeted this out is the WWE has said they're going to focus more on tag teams. Mm-hmm. Like that was something they told the Revival, like you're going to be a big part of it. Raw is getting less and less tag teams. SmackDown, who already had like 6, just keeps building more. We have McMiz and now Rusev. And on
You
top
come up with that on yourself.
Well, let's just talk about that Fatal 4-Way match. Had those 4 teams, you didn't even have Sanity, the Club, or the Colognes in it. Mm-hmm. So it's like SmackDown has like 12 teams. Raw has like 2. It blows my mind. But they clearly have something planned for Rusev and Nakamura. We've seen them over and over go for the U.S. title. Now they stuck it on R-Truth, so hopefully Andrade just takes it from him. But we'll see. But I thought Rusev telling the Club to go to catering. Oh, God. Quote of the week. And there were a lot of good quotes.
There were a lot of good quotes.
No, Samoa Joe's was better.
Yeah.
It's number 2. It's the funniest of the week. I don't know. God damn, it was good. There were so many good one-liners this week.
It's a good one-liner.
That's why I like SmackDown. Whoever writes SmackDown should get a raise. Whoever writes Raw should get fired.
I think that's the same person, so I don't know.
I don't think so. They have 2 different teams.
Anything else that you enjoyed this week? Because for me, I got to say, #never in the shine, Mojo Rawley. Mojo Rawley. Yeah! You got to admit, though, that promo was actually pretty decent.
So when I was watching it, I said, I looked at it and I said, if he's not talking to the mirror, then this is the worst thing ever. But if he talks to the mirror, I liked it. That's all I have to say.
Can you just put all the sentences together into one compound sentence that would make me happy?
Mojo Rawley knows he has no one to blame but himself because he sucks. So he was talking to a mirror because he's a psycho. So good.
Not what I was looking for. We were real close to almost being friends. That was fun.
Yeah, but hey,
Mojo Rawley in the shine. Who would have thought on this week that he talking to a mirror would be in the shine?
It's hilarious because
how rare.
They stuck freaking No Way Jose in the Rumble to come out and Conga and then not care that he got eliminated, which is dumb, but whatever.
Adam Rose.
And they didn't even use it as a thing though. They just literally whatever. And they didn't even give Mojo a slop. Then they gave him a promo, so it's like, okay, well, they at least remembered he existed. And
we're going to have to wait till after Mania for anything to happen, I'm sure.
That's the problem. But you never know. Because I'm a big proponent of like these different backstage segments with different people mixed in because what we were talking about earlier, character development.
Right.
Like, I either need it in the terms of a promo like that. That's why I also like the Mandy Sonia one because there was a little more clarity on what's going on there.
Sure.
But also, like, that's why we want more jobber matches because in the ring, have Mojo face a jobber in a quick squash next week, we can see his moveset and be like, oh, that's what he's all about. Mm-hmm. You need more of that because when you 50-50 book and just have like the same matches every week, like you don't get a clear picture and it just nobody looks good. But if you mix in more of those jobber matches and more of this, it makes everyone better.
Anything else? Or are we going to hit it the old big heat?
I got nothing else, really.
That's right, because SmackDown sucked.
No, we talked about like all of SmackDown.
All right, into the big heat. What's the biggest heat you got, baby?
The biggest heat this week, get Jeff Jarrett the fuck off my TV. Road Dogg 2. Oh, you didn't know. It was the most predictable thing. You were calling for it at the Rumble.
Oh, God.
I was thinking they're going to do it on Raw. And, of course, they bring out fucking Pony Show again. And then out comes Road Dogg. And God, I don't care. That's all I have to say. I don't give a shit.
It helped. They're like, oh, Elias blasted a guitar. What is with the shell game of these characters lately? Why is Nakamura get the U.S. Championship? Now Rusev's a heel, plus Elias is a heel. It's like, whoop, whoop, whoop. What are we doing? And it's just like they just made Rusev like somebody that we were starting to enjoy. Elias was still in the infancy of being a babyface. It was just, what are we doing? And then, of course, like with My Baby Tonight, by the way, total, like
Renee not knowing the words was the best part of this
and
segment.
she was like dancing the wrong beat to it.
That was the best part of the segment.
Full disclosure, I love that song.
It's a great song.
With My Baby Tonight, because as a kid I used to sing it because it was a great storyline.
And maybe I'm being harsh in this segment, but I just hate Jeff Jarrett.
It was just, listen, it's fine, but Jeff Jarrett will now be the two-trick pony, guitar smashing with My Baby Tonight. That's essentially what he is.
Wasn't he always that, though?
No, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah. He's never done more than that. Road Dogg comes out, which is fine, but it's just, it was like one of those segments where I was just like, somebody shoehorns something in somewhere, and it doesn't necessarily, yes, with My Motherfucking Baby Tonight happened, great, wonderful. Now we get past it, never want to see it again. The end. Let's move on.
What's your biggest hit of the week?
Well, let's just talk about Ronda. Let's get it out of the
way.
Let's
the stuff before Becky. Let's make sure we say it. The Ronda stuff before Becky. I wrote ultimate cringe.
I mean, and I made a joke of it, but really it comes down to this. Doesn't matter how amazing you are at judo. Doesn't matter how fast you pick up professional wrestling. Doesn't matter how well you read a script. Doesn't matter. The minute you can find a way to interact with a crowd, that's where you become even bigger.
Yes.
And this moment, no matter how good, no matter how big, no matter how much of a name she is, that crowd owned her.
Oh, yeah.
Owned her big time. The
Oh,
fact,
yeah.
Here's what you don't do in wrestling. You don't cut a promo and then let the crowd eat you alive and then acknowledge that they're eating you alive. And then they send out Bailey to
By the
save
way,
you
if they
in
send
a
out
promo.
Bailey to save you,
Yes.
you're in trouble.
And you know how
'Cause
you know
Bailey's not a good promo.
Here's how you know, to me, when I look for telltale signs and stuff, here's where you know that they just went, she pulled the plug on it on live television, was they had the inflatables on the stage ready to happen. She was supposed to cut a longer promo talking about being a real champion, probably in the gumption that she's going to have in the Ronda dictionary, and then tell about, I give props to Sasha, but yada, yada, yada. I have an open challenge, and inflatables, high fives, and Bailey wacky inflatable arm tube mans, whatever. But the fact that Bailey went out there, who clearly, we all love Bailey.
Do love Bailey.
Not the strongest promo in the world.
No.
But when we saw that, we all thought, well, I'll be damned. This right here was proof that no matter how good she is, she will need to get better. And I don't know if she will be able. Listen, here, I don't know. Here's what I'm saying, and this is where a lot of people are
say
going
it.
Well, you're talking over me. God, give me some space. It does not matter how good she is. I don't know if her previous life of being a UFC fighter and not being able to deal with the fans for so long and being slightly butthurt when she lost and people making fun of her for losing, she took that really hard. And like, no kidding aside, like, she contemplated a lot of like dark places in that, which is terrible. You may not be in the right business because the crowd does not care how you feel and they're going to eat you alive. So this is not good for her psyche.
Well, here's the problem. And it's we say this every week because we literally saw it later in the show that she can do it. Why are you forcing her to be this character that it just doesn't work for her? Nobody wants to see her with that. She's not the milky white baby face, especially she's going to be going against the man, the hottest thing. Stop putting her in these positions. Stop having her come out the night after pay-per-view and cut a stupid promo that no one wants to hear. That's like, I'm a superhero. This is great. Believe in your dreams. No, we want Ronda to come out and be like, yeah, I beat the fuck out of Sasha because I'm awesome. I'm the baddest woman on the planet. I can beat everyone. That's like what she did to Becky. Have her do that. Stop forcing this other crap. That match was terrible.
Yeah, she train wrecked into everywhere.
Can we just stop having her wrestle the night after pay-per-view matches? Like, I get what you're trying to do. It's be like, yeah, I'm so tough. I'm willing to put my title on the line again. No, stop. It's a waste of time. Just stop doing that. And stop having her shake people's hands once she's done the match. If Bailey wants to go for a handshake and Ronda wants to be like, no, you're not worth it. I just embarrassed you. Like, it just stop. Everything they do creatively right now pretty much makes her look like a dumbass. Mm-hmm. And like she can't execute being that baby face. But you let her just go in her fucking Ronda zone and you piss her off and stick her with Becky Lynch, she succeeds. So do that. Stop. Don't let her get in her own way. That is your job as creative, as people who are putting together this shit, is to not put your superstars in positions that they cannot do and they will not do, and especially when we've seen they can do it other ways. So hopefully this is the breaking point and they will just flip the switch because it doesn't matter what she does up to Mania. She's headed towards Becky. It heads towards Becky. They need to embrace her character being the bad guy, the full heel, the baddest bitch on the planet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So stop forcing this shit.
Moving on.
And let's get some better shit for Bailey.
Yeah, poor Bailey deserves a lot more. She's
Hopefully
very talented.
the tag division should help a lot.
All right, anything else?
So the Revival already in the ring because, of course, they just want to piss me off, but they won. Whatever.
With the Zack Ryder flub.
So SmackDown, putting emphasis on SmackDown, on tag team divisions, Raw. No, it's just the champions weren't on TV again. Mm-hmm. They weren't even like watching in the monitor. By the way, also on SmackDown, just gotta mention, they had Shane and Miz sitting on a couch watching it like normal people. Step in the right direction. They're listening to fans, guys. But yeah, no, the Raw tag team division is just like, I like the Revivals picking up wins, but God, make it matter. Your champs need to be on TV. Those titles need to be on TV. Sorry.
And Zack Ryder is spelled with a K.
Yeah, that was hilarious. His lower third. It was funny. You were right. The Twitter handle had it right, yeah. But his name was Zach. It was so I love that was good.
Somebody just had a rough day at the office. That's all. That's all. It happens to the best of us. Anything else?
Yeah, the Kurt Angle backstage promo was fucking awkward and awful. That was bad.
What are you going to do?
Bad. I mean, stop having Kurt Angle cut promos. That's what I'd like to see them do because he has a track record since he's been back of being 0 for infinity.
0 for infinity.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Kurt Hawkins. Anyway, I think it might be now time for me to really piss through this.
Yeah, go ahead. Nestle Quick Eats.
All right. Let's see where we left off. All right, Nia and Tamina beat the Bliss and Mickey. That was a real sloppy match, specifically for Mickey James.
Bliss.
The Bliss. Very sloppy match. Specifically, Mickey was not in the right head of it was a match, and it was not the right spot for them. And again, it was just getting us there to bridge us over, and there it is. All right, moving on. Let's see. Again, something I'm sure we're probably going to get upset about. Balor comes out and let's celebrate that I'm a loser because it doesn't make any goddamn sense. Like what? We live in a world. First off, very quickly, we live in a world
trophies.
Where we live in a world where we give soccer participation trophies. I can't even say because I'm so mad. Participation trophies, and they sit out here and they're like, "Yeah, you almost got it. Shut the fuck up. Let's move on." Bobby Lashley comes out and annihilates him. Thank God, Bobby. Moving on. Fucking hate that.
By the
shit.
way, a quick note. Leo was going back and forth. Oh, God, who was that? On Twitter. It was with Heyman.
Yeah.
And he was like the Almighty. He put hashtag Almighty, but it wasn't spelled how they do it on the shirt. And Heyman's like, Leo, you're great. You have a great future, but at least know how to spell your character's own thing. It's on your freaking shirt. I thought that was hilarious.
Okay. And then, of course, we had, like we said, Elias cut a promo. Now he's heel. Whatever. It's just cringeworthy. New era. It's not the new era when you pull out old fogies like that. Let's see. Natty and Dana, who cares? Because that's hodgepodge. That is a potluck dinner waiting to happen. Tag team taking on the Riots. Thank God the Riots won. That's that. Moving on. Let's see. Mac and Cheese versus Braun. It happened. It was another rerun. I'm telling you right now.
Even the beatdown was a rerun.
Oh, my God. The beatdown was a rerun. Sans Bobby Lashley. It was the exact same thing. And I got to tell you right now, it was barely a match because, as we said, fucking Corbin comes out. So then we sit there and we go, okay, great, wonderful. This is happening again. Braun Strowman, in my opinion, could not be colder at this point.
So
could
I thought
not
he
be
got,
colder.
I agree overall.
Cold.
But he came out the Rumble, still got one of the biggest pops. So I was like,
Sure.
good, if they do actually have him win, at least like he has enough. So like we all want it as the crowd, but like the booking for him continues to be like, same thing as last year's like, oh shit, we didn't pull the trigger on Braun. So what are we going to do with that in Mania? Oh, he's going to fucking partner with that 10-year-old. This year's going to be like, what do we do with Braun? Oh, we put him in the I don't know. So
he already won the Andre Battle Royal, so what's the point?
Did he?
Yeah.
When did he win it?
Didn't he?
I thought Matt Hardy won it this year.
I can't remember. No, sorry. The Greatest Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
This is not the same thing. I apologize.
Yeah, he won the greatest of all Royal Rumbles, but not the actual Royal Rumble.
It was fantastic. It was great.
He got a title for it that he's never had to defend.
Moving on, we get to Brock Brockton doing a promo against something, and then I'm sorry. Heyman talks about going to SmackDown, you bum. And then, of course, six F5s later.
Oh, yeah. That was...
Not enough for you. Ha, ha, ha. And I did like the ending that they kept beating him up. Like, that was the thing on both shows. They faded out while stuff was still going on. That makes me more entertained.
Well, the problem is Raw. They're getting kicked off the air.
Yeah.
Because USA's like, we got Temptation Island, baby.
Ugh. Anyway, let's move on to that. We'll go over to SmackDown, where I think R-Truth winning the US title was just stupid, and the whole thing was hot potato, and I hate it, but whatever.
So do you think that finish was on purpose or not?
The match, no, but the outcome I think was designed
I think
to be
he was
same.
supposed to win, but I think the ref jumped the gun because they didn't even
Fucking
have
Kyoto.
R-Truth's like lower third ready or anything. I would have believed R-Truth not realizing he won because that's R-Truth's character,
Right.
but them not having the lower third ready makes me think like this was a little early.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
Whatever, it still got us there.
It happened. All right, moving on. So again, we had a Becky promo, fine. That was one promo. Then we had the R-Truth schmaz for like 37 seconds, and then that happened. Rusev comes out, cuts a promo. Now he's a heel. Why? I don't know.
Him and Elias just turned heel again.
Exactly.
Yeah, why
So
not?
then we had this whole thing, and it just like, okay, here we are, and that's the thing. More talking, because then here we go. Here comes Ray, and then stopped by Zelina, which again, not a bad segment. I like Andrade in a suit. It was fine. But again, talkity-talk. Then after that, we come back from a commercial break with Miz and Mr. Miz. Whatever. It is what it is. And it's fine.
Mr. Miz.
Yeah.
Mr. Miz.
It was whatever. And it just, again, this is me losing my goddamn mind through the entire process. And then, of course, we have heavy machinery comes out, whoop, whoop, which is fine. Again, fine, whatever. And then we talk about, again, a dead cow. The end. That's the entire process for the entire week.
It's still, Daniel Bryan's feuds are all about food.
Food. And you know what? It makes me goddamn hungry.
But
So
you
there
know
it
what?
is.
That's a good transition. Glorious to my hope. Is as we've seen, we now know the 6 men in Elimination Chamber.
Yes.
You have Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Mustafa Ali, Randy Orton, and Jeff Hardy. So yeah, that's gonna happen because that's whatever. But you know what? I want this to happen. I don't want to see Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles part 1000. So to do that, Daniel Bryan, you can lose your title. I'm
What?
sorry. As great as you've been,
What?
I want Samoa Joe to win the WWE Championship inside Elimination Chamber.
Wow, you flip-flopped so quickly.
No, hey, look it. I'm
You
a
have been
proponent
on
of things are good. That was one of the best promos I've seen in a long time. I want Joe to be my champion. I want to do it inside the most destructive structure because there won't have to be as many rest holds, and if there are, there should be other action going on so it won't distract me. I want him to win that title and then cut promos and not wrestle again until WrestleMania because, him insulting people is great. I think it would be fun, and I don't want to see Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles Part 50, so let's just do it, and if they do, whatever. Samoa Joe, my hope, win the Elimination Chamber. I mean, the other part of it was that I was hoping that Rusev would challenge him as the babyface at WrestleMania for the WWE title, but WWE kind of,
schmozzed that a little bit.
schmozzed that one a little bit, so we'll see. Maybe Samoa Joe and someone else, but whatever. That's what I want. Finally am ready for Samoa Joe to be WWE champion. Hashtag JC's hopes come true. Hashtag JC knows. What you got?
Well, my hope, I had two, but I think a lot of people have already, talked about one, so I'm going to not have that one. This is my hope, right? So here we go. The Miz and Shane McMahon have won the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championships. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. It's a breath of fresh air. It's good for probably a month, and then we're going to be done. Here we go. So, logical standpoint for old Nessie here. We're going to have the returning Recycle Rowan, right? What's a logical choice? Oh, I don't know. Maybe his brother, his bludgeon brother, his recycle brother, Luke Harper come back. They're part of this entire New World Organic, and then they will all be a nice little stable. Wait for it. And those two goons beat up The Miz and Shane McMahon, take those tag team championships that, quite frankly, they technically, they lost, but not really lost because it was a kind of a weird thing that New Day won.
Because Rowan was dead.
They beat up Shane so badly, he gets written off TV, thus having The Miz so angry, he needs to avenge his friend's thing and challenge the Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania.
Daniel Bryan retaining the chamber. I take back my hope.
Yes, exactly.
Your hope's better.
Yes,
Never going to
exactly.
say that again.
No, of course
but
not.
But it gets Miz a WWE Championship
Yes.
shot and a WWE Championship win.
Yep.
Yes, I'm in.
Yep, that's it.
Yep. I hope this comes true. I hope it comes true.
Book it.
Not
Nestle
optimistic,
books.
but I hope you're right.
Oh my God. It was so easy.
Hashtag I pray Nestle's hopes come true.
Never going to happen again, folks. I'm going to have to play that on repeat in my own mind.
I'm going to clip this off and just play it to you when you go to sleep.
It's true. It'll probably put me to sleep. Anyway, moving on. Let's give it to the comeback time. Let's do it.
Well, I was going to give it to Shelton Benjamin because he's very deserving. He's a stud. But you were slandering our boy too much, so what's up? R-Truth gets my comeback. 7 years later, the man takes back the United States Championship, defends it back, and defends it immediately after winning it. So absolute stud. Beats the newest up-and-coming tag team of greatness and Rusev on Rusev Day. Just what a win for R-Truth. I love him and Carmella together because Carmella's great, and somehow their chemistry is just fantastic. I'm curious to see what they do now with R-Truth. It was clearly like one of these things like, you know what? We respect what you've done for us. He honestly had a really good back end of the year in terms of entertainment value, whether you like it or not. They used him in a lot of ways. He didn't get his shot in the Rumble because they had Nia take him out. So here, have a title the next night, which typical WWE booking, but whatever. He gets my comeback because you know what? R-Truth, if you look back, has had some really memorable and entertaining moments throughout the years. And you know what? So why not? Obviously, him squashing Rusev pretty much is whoa. But you know what? R-Truth, you get my comeback. More of a career comeback. 7 years later, winning the championship.
Delightful.
I think I'll have another
but
bite-full of Damandy's donuts.
Awful. Just atrocious. My comeback, I already kind of talked about it. I am giving it, I was going to give it to Mojo, but that's fine. We already talked about it in the Shine. Mojo was in the Shine.
I would have given it to the Mirror instead.
Yeah, well, the Mirror put him over. Anyway, let's talk about this. I'm going to give it to Recycle Rowan because, quite frankly, I was head-scratching myself at the Royal Rumble, but I was like, you know what? I'm in. Because, that guy, we've watched him kind of just do nothing.
You mean we've seen him just be recycled character after character?
So why not use it again, right? So look, Daniel Bryan is literally, you might as well just let this man, he is the planet champion. He is out of the stratosphere. He needs a heat magnet. He needs a heater. And no bigger than Recycle Rowan. And I'm telling you right now, the fact that he put him over in a promo saying this man is my intellectual counterpart, essentially, my equal, I love that. I thought that was fantastic. I thought the fact that was telling people right there, he is my equal, which makes him elevated because now he's with the WWE champion. It makes me feel like Shawn Michaels and Diesel. It's got the guy that matches up. I'm telling you.
Well, stop, God.
I'm telling you right now. It's going to work out, folks. It's going to be.
He's not Diesel.
You're right. He's better than Diesel.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
That's not true.
Oh,
I
God.
can't do that.
You just got really drunk in that comeback.
I'm telling you right now, it's exciting. It's exciting because, look, we're using people. We're using people that we don't necessarily. We're recycling people. It's fine. All right, so you say RECOICLE, recycle.
Yes.
Right, so there it is.
I love it. But
so there it is.
So the one thing is you said Daniel Bryan is the planet's champion, but he's in another stratosphere.
Yes.
That doesn't work because if
Sure
you're
it
the planet's
is.
champion, then if he's in the stratosphere, he's not on the planet.
That's the whole point of a funny comeback. It's
okay,
funny.
so whatever.
Oh, my God.
Should we get to the finish?
Yes, let's roll into this goddamn
Do we want
thing.
to take over? Or do we want to talk about Ambrose and Itami?
You know what, Tommy, very quickly, it should have happened a long time ago. Probably should have never signed with the WWE.
I think the injury killed him because he was starting to get that push, and then he had that big injury. Then he came back, got the title match. They moved him to 205, and
it is what it is.
yeah.
John Good. Should we talk about John Good?
We should talk about John Good because this is the first time ever I have seen them say, because Kenta, he asked for his release, he was granted it. Unlike the allegedly other requests, Ambrose is a different thing. He didn't need to ask for his release. He said, when my contract is up in April, I will not resign. So to me, that's why this one is a weird one.
Mm-hmm.
Because WWE.com even went out of their way to say it. He's still working for them for the next 2.5 months. They clearly did the thing where after the match, like he stayed in the ring and came out, and then Nia Jax interrupted him because she's the man killer now. She's a face-breaking man killer, which that actually kind of works because she broke the man's face. But she just like, get out of here, Dean. So he didn't really get that moment. So this to me, I don't know if it is or not. I've been going back and forth. This one feels more worky to me.
Oh, absolutely.
That I don't know. Maybe he will. Maybe he does leave and his contract's up and they're just trying to use him, whatever. But it's just weird to me that they would publish an article being like, yeah, in 2.5 months, he won't be working for us anymore. And also the fact that he would just be, I don't know. That's why to me, this one screams a little more work.
Sure. I'm at a point where I don't know the information, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah, but that's what we do. We don't never know the information.
Right?
It's called speculate, baby.
Right.
Let's go.
So look, for me, if he is leaving, it's a nice ploy by the WWE to tell the fans.
Yep.
So they're going to try to get the fans to keep him.
Yep.
And they're going to go back in April. See how it is? Everybody loves you, blah, 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 blah. If he's going to face Triple H at WrestleMania, then he deserves to leave. Because quite frankly,
would that happen?
somebody was speculating.
We saw that like 2 years ago.
But the Fastlane match was pretty decent.
I don't
they
think
had
it
it.
was Fastlane. It was like that. It was a special.
It was that like it was a
Whatever. I don't know what it's
WWE
called.
Network special.
Yeah.
But it was Fastlane, I believe. I think it might have been the first Fastlane actually. It was right before 32. So anyway, that was a decent match. But if that's what he's doing, yeah, he can go. He can do his own thing. I mean, if he teams up back with Sami Callihan, if he does all that stuff, that'll be great. If he does the hardcore stuff,
I think AEW would go hard for him.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's got a lot of name and a lot of name value, and he's a talented dude.
And maybe his plan and their plan has been like, yo, go do the McIntyre thing.
Yeah.
Go do like the EC3 thing. Go do the like Cody thing and then come back to us. Like maybe that's the thing. It's like, look at Dean, like we didn't do it. You're like your character. We know you hate it. It's whatever. So go make a new one. And if you want to come back, we'll take you back because, you'll always be our shield and everything. So I think if he does leave, I think that's kind of what it is. And that's probably why like they're like not, because they allegedly, like if you believe everything you read, they offered him a huge contract, which makes sense. He was already in the top 10 of being paid, like all the shield guys. So his contract would be even bigger, which means he would be paid as one of the top guys. And if he's rejecting that, it's either that work or maybe he really is going to try to do the other avenue. But wish him the best of luck either way.
Yeah. Here's the other thing that I was trying to think about too. Is if he doesn't face Triple H, I wonder if he's going to face Nia Jax.
It's just not. It's not happening.
No, you never know, right? So you could be talked two ways, right? Like if he's going on his way out, they might go, let's let Nia give him. Like just let him get beat up by Nia Jax. Because you know what? It could happen.
Yeah.
They keep having that introduction to each other. You never know. You never know.
Anything's possible, but I doubt that is.
Okay. Let's get over to NXT.
Should we take over and go war?
That was the best match
Only
for me.
one special entrance, and I thought it was cool. It was the War Raiders. They had a fantastic match. They won the titles, which now means Undisputed Era has no gold in NXT.
Mm-hmm.
Raw needs some tag teams.
We're going to have to wait till after WrestleMania, that's for
obviously.
sure.
But I think that's if Undisputed Era is coming up, the door is obviously open for that. Or they could just have Adam Cole win the top title and they could reign supreme. But we'll see. But yeah, that was the second best match of the night to me. I thought it was a great match.
I enjoyed this match the most.
Out
of all five. I love this match. I thought the Roar... I have a special place in my heart for Hanson because he's from here. A lot of my friends know him, so you know what? Good for him. The man's a journeyman and does everything right, and he's super positive dude. So congratulations, you deserve it. And that entrance was boss. Like, I love that. It was super hot fire, as you would say. So look, I'm excited. The other matches, some of them were kind of falling.
The Riddle
on deaf
match,
ears.
Riddle won as expected. It just that didn't do much for me. It honestly bored me. I thought Gargano Ricochet was an instant classic. I thought, for me so far, it is the match of the year. I think it edges out Almas and Ray just because of the meaning and like the stage and just. Like, when you watch Ricochet, like, the reason why I love this match is because we know Ricochet is, like, he does all the spots, like, all that. I think he's more than just a spot monkey. I think he's proven that. But the story of this match was Gargano being smart enough to not allow him to do that, but Ricochet being athletic enough to still find ways to do it, even though Gargano was taking it away. And I thought the right man won. Johnny Gargano was ready for a singles title run. It wasn't the big one, but the minute, like I said, the minute he cut that promo about being all about wins and championships was the first time his character I saw, it's what Ciampa's been going for him, to understand what it takes to do whatever it takes to win. That he was winning. I thought they did it well. He won the way Ciampa wins a lot of his matches by ripping up the floor and then hitting a move there, got him right back in the ring and pinned him. So I just love that. These two guys are now the two single champions on NXT. It's how they close the show. But just like the intertwining of them, no matter what, when they're not even facing each other now, they have that will they, won't they thing going on. It's so masterful, the storytelling down at NXT, especially in this main event picture. And I love that it just like, to me, it's good. It's good television, and they're entertaining, really good matches.
And then there was Bianca Belair or whatever. That was a train wreck. And then, of
she
course,
had some issues, but I thought they did a good story in that match. And then we got to talk about the hair whip. Whew! Did you see that cut? That was great.
I don't. Yeah, to me, I was just
Bianca
like, okay.
Belair has a bright future. This was her thing, being like, you know what, we're gonna put her in the moment, see what she can do.
Yeah.
But it wasn't her time. That's I wanted her to win, but again, I realized that it's
Not
still
gonna
Baszler time. But yeah, and I mean.
Then Aleister Black and Ciampa, whatever. They did good storytelling, but to me, it wasn't like it wasn't like a headliner. It wasn't the bring it on home, boys. It wasn't to me usually to me when I watch TakeOver, I go, okay, usually the best matches last. And to me, this was not the best match of the night, so I was let's get it over with.
To me, it was just because that is the one like problem is the Ciampa Gargano storyline is still like the main thing. So it was like we knew Ciampa was getting by Aleister. And again, I like the match. Like if it was by itself, it was a good like vicious thing, but it wasn't anything like great or whatever. But do we think Aleister Black's on NXT? He was in the Rumble.
Who knows?
He's the guy that makes the most sense to be called up. But again, it might not be till after Mania.
Who knows?
You gonna be watching Halftime Heat on Sunday?
That was another question very quickly. I don't think I will.
No,
I really don't think I will. I mean, I'm sure I'll watch it after the fact, but I won't watch it when it's happening.
I mean, it's a 6-man tag. But I like that they're doing it. I think it's a good idea.
To do it at the PC?
Well, just to like have it during halftime.
Oh no, it's a great ploy.
I think it's a good idea, and I love the callback to Sunday Night Heat.
Sure,
So
no, listen, I'm excited for it, but again, to me, 6-man tags, don't care. I'll watch it if I have extra time for next week's podcast. I'll watch it, but I will not watch it live.
Yeah, I feel like it's a good idea. But yeah.
All right, anything else? Time to take it home?
Dude, is there anything else to talk? I think
we're exhausted. We talked for way too long.
Yeah.
On that note, I believe you've already socialized everything.
Pretty much, yeah. Just make sure, like I said, 5 stars, buy the shirt, check out the website, follow us on Twitter. You should know all the handles by now, but if not, put out a Follow Friday every Friday. You can check it out there. But yeah.
All right,
we got you covered, bros.
Hopefully,
bro.
No. Hopefully, you enjoyed listening to us, and we'll be back next week with more Jobber Knockery
and more of Demandy's Donuts.